Let's talk about League voice chat a bit. League of Legends voice chat. First things first, there's been a Nemesis clip. This is one of the better takedowns of the voice chat that I've heard, but we'll start here and we can talk about it. Because Nemesis is profoundly like, anti-voice chat. He doesn't like it, and here's a couple of reasons. And a lot of the reasons that he mentions here are something that people don't talk about, don't think about. So we'll start here as a counter argument, then we'll go back to like what it means to have voice chat in League of Legends in general, and then we're gonna circle back here and try to see what we can do about this counter argument. Ellis wrote nicely about basically reiterating what Nemesis said. So
million times already. TLDR is, I think voice chat brings more negative things than positive. I'm not a fan of it, even though it would benefit me as a streamer, because voice chat would add more content. The problem with voice chat is not toxicity, okay? Usually when people argue whether voice chat is good or bad, then the number one reason is always toxicity. No, toxicity is not the number one reason why voice chat is not a good thing. That is scope. Toxicity is not even that big of a reason why not to add voice chat. The real reason why voice chat is very scary, and for me a no, is because it will warp the current game, especially in high elo, but the current game, the current League of Legends that you know, is going to be warped completely. You will not be playing the same game anymore. And this is going to be especially noticeable in high elo, where people will slowly start playing slower over longer periods of time. People will be more frustrated and tilted of you playing an off-meta champion. People will be more inclined to just play safe and scale and not go for random 1v1 outplays, 1v2 outplays, stuff like that. And the overall individual skill will go down in the game. Obviously, there will be some individual skill via shot calling and stuff, which right now is missing. Right now you can do it via pings, but it's not gonna make the same. Voice chat.
Yeah, tactics would get better.
Individual skill will go down on the game. There will be less 1v1 outplays, less solo kills, less this and that, especially in high elo. Voice chat will be optional, which means that if you have 3 players on your team that are in voice, but the other 2 aren't, and one team has all 5, you will be at a massive...
Yeah, okay, so massive disadvantage. Makes sense. So like he's talking about the highest elo. I sort of agree, but not fully. I think Nemesis is being like way too radical in his approach. So we can talk about it as well. But first, okay, we're getting voice chat. Okay, League voice chat. We're getting voice chat. What is gonna happen with the voice chats? Yeah, I understand his perspective. But it's like a very it's rooted in himself, basically. He's looking at it from his own lens, and that's kind of the biggest problem with this voice chat conundrum, is that everybody's exactly looking at it from their own lens. Like, you have people, for example, like, what about toxicity? Who cares when you're toxic? But then, like, that person has, like, a very conforming normative voice, for example, and he won't get insta-roasted every time it joins the voice chat, right? Like, this is a very, very common experience for people with non-conforming voice chat, or a voice, or like women in general when they enter, or people, or kids, or just younger. You come in, you're squeaking a little bit, like you're gonna get fucking roasted about that, you know? And that's just somewhat inevitable, sad to say, somewhat inevitable thing that happens in these situations. So you can't really argue for those people sake, really, because for them maybe the game is just going to be worse. You can even say like mute and all of that, but there's disadvantages with that. You're obviously like going to be muted a lot of the time, which is going to be a negative and disadvantage. But on the other hand, it just gets very annoying to hear the same exact thing all the time. Like, imagine, like, this is not even just if you're a woman, for example. Like, imagine you're a Grotted and you come in and like you obviously like have a specific way of speaking, and then imagine like every single game you come in, you keep hearing that, it gets very, very tedious and annoying. Sure, you can mute, but you get a little bit bitter and you get a little bit annoyed about the game. So that's one of the things that can happen, and it will happen, and there's really not much you can do short of just do a lot of moderation. You can do a lot of moderation on the game and try to fix it in that way. But we're looking at it from a Riot Games perspective, where they don't really care. Like, that's not a thing that's of concern. I think I heard this argument like really, really long time ago, where somebody like Riot August, I think, said he's not for voice chat specifically because a lot of his friends would get roasted in the voice chat, and they would get like completely bullied. And I can understand that from like a person in the Riot games, like a personality, a personal opinion of a person who works in the Riot games. But as a company, like, they don't care. If they tell you that they're not doing the voice chat because they care about people being hurt, that's just like nonsensical. No company operates to maximize like players not feeling threatened or annoyed. That's just not even a metric for them. Let's be real. That's just not a thing. So why Riot Games is now doing it is, one of the reasons they don't have voice chat for now is because the League client wasn't designed with voice chat in mind. Even though, like, you may have noticed, it has like a duo voice chat. It's not been designed with a global voice chat in mind. It doesn't have the infrastructure to hold the voice chat. And that's just like one part of it. Why don't they have it? The second big reason why they don't have it when they should, like, as a game, like, because a lot of the games want to have voice chat, and it's just a net positive for a lot of the companies to get the voice chat in their games. The reason why they don't have it is because they didn't need to beforehand. When League of Legends came out, although you don't remember this is 2009, voice chat wasn't very common in video games, and there was no Dota 2 at the time. Okay, like, League of Legends came as a beta game, right, just based off of the Defend of the Ancients custom map on Warcraft 3, the Frozen Throne. And it was just a copy of that, which provided a little bit of structure and ranking system, and it took off. It absolutely took off. They had no competition. They monopolized the MOBA market, essentially solidifying the genre, and there was no competitors, so they didn't need the voice chat at all. There was no need for voice chat. If in 2010, a couple of games came out and like popped off, and they all had voice chat integrated, eventually like League of Legends they would have to conform. So that's another reason why they don't have it. They didn't have it thus far. When, from a company perspective, they want to. Another reason why they don't have it is because, well, they felt like they didn't need to shake the boat, because they were part of is monopoly, and the second part is like, it's just costly. It's not very costly to create systems that actually utilize your microphone and you're able to chat with your teammates. It's costly in a way where you have to store a lot of data. You have to store a lot of voices when people get reported, so people can actually, you will either transcribe that, although now AI has gotten way better at transcribing voice communication, but also it requires moderation by humans a lot of the time. So it's terabytes of information storage plus people working, so it's costly. That's another reason why it didn't exist. So yeah, Riot just said, okay, now they're revamping the client, they're preparing it, so they decided to do it. And Riot is gonna do voice chat. So, well, what's gonna happen with the voice chat? We don't really know, right? We don't really know. There's many considerations to have here. It just depends who you are and like how do you approach this. So Nemesis is right. You would, in a way, that we're gonna have higher quality games, higher skill ceiling at the top. The games will be safer, more technically correct. But I think he's overestimating to what degree that's gonna happen. Nemesis is like, you gotta look at the lens he's looking at this from. And Nemesis is like this highly accomplished player who's very technical about the stuff that he does. And he just imagines that everybody's approaching the game in the exact same way, like him. He's just imagining everybody's thinking about the game like one-to-one, and like that's just how it's gonna go. First of all, for like the first 99%, it really, I don't think it's gonna hinder their ability to play make. I don't think it's gonna slow them down. Like at the top of the ladder, you might have minor changes, but you also have to take into account that not everyone will be on the voice chat. It's gonna be sort of there. Also, another thing people say about the voice chat is pings are gonna be less common, which I don't think that's true. I think redundancy of information, like you just, every time you play the game, like you wanna, even when I'm playing with somebody duo, I will spam pings when I move somewhere. It's just a habit. It's a rooted habit in your gameplay, but also it's just useful, like, because the ping shows you the direction of a person. Even if you hear somebody, you will see the direction. I don't think pings will be less common because of it. I think that that's just gonna continue. It's a very good habit. Let's go here. What do we got? I'll make a maybe video. Okay. Yes, the game will change for sure. People will realize scaling in slower plays plus EV and more correct, generally speaking. Yep. Debate always has been, but people always push back when it inflamed. I don't know who that was, but this is true. Like everyone knows this kind of. You just think about it. The game will become an arms race to keep pushing scaling / indirect advantages, draft, and other things. I don't think like that's gonna impact like. You're not going to be able to communicate in a draft. Like, maybe, like, the draft will be a bit more strict. That's what he's saying. That the draft will be more strict because of it, but I think people are just going to play what they want to play, really. Amazing, weird. Sadly, League might just be too fast-paced and full clearing is bad or something. Wait, what? What is he trying to say here? Assassins and balance will face a huge nightmare. This is something that we talked about a while ago and a lot of the times. And this is a good thing. Without these things, the current stat lines and other things will see them suffer an interesting problem. This is an interesting problem, but it offers like an interesting solution. This is very, very true. And this is something we talked about a while ago. That assassins would get nerfed. And people would use this as an argument against voice chat. Okay, if people have voice chat, like how am I gonna get kills as Rengar, jungle, running bot, or like Evelyn, Invis, making plays, or Pike mid lane flip roaming, or Katarina mid lane roaming? Like, how are we gonna get kills? You know, like that's such a dumb argument because you are inherently benefiting from the fact that enemies aren't playing the game in a correct manner. You're just cheesing like one guy who gets caught and then abusing that guy to get resets and kill everybody else, or like get fed off it so you can kill everybody else so they don't have counterplay. I think this is really good because assassins shouldn't be balanced around careless bystanders, about like around people who are not collecting all the information correctly. Assassins should definitely not be balanced around that. That's like this is very good because you're removing like a garbage way of getting ahead, and then you're gonna have to come up with new ones. So assassins would suffer, but then Riot has a very interesting problem to how to fix them and make them more balanced in a way where they can actually achieve stuff if you're playing them well, versus people who do communicate. It will make it like assassins way better to play in a way. It will make them more skill intense instead of you hoping that somebody's stupid on the enemy side. So I see this as an absolute win. Like, if you want to play assassins, this is a win for you because you get to distinguish yourself as a better player, as a player who actually knows how to crack the enemies instead of just abusing the fact that they're decoherent. And it's gonna make assassins more well-rounded, like well-balanced compared to this. The game will reward intelligence more than the mechanics. Mechanics, I don't know, like what more, like more relatively to now would be true. I don't know, like more overall. Mechanics will still matter, I will just stay a bit more towards. I mean, even now, like I think just intelligence and playing correctly is better. It's just that people don't communicate about it, really, because there's no vessel to communicate through. Like, I'm not a mechanical player. I'm not a very good mechanical. I hit rank 1 this season. I'm not a particularly mechanical or fast player. I just play the game thoughtfully. Like, I just imagine what I want to do, what are the vincons, modified in my head, and play according to that. So yeah, I'm selecting for that slightly more. I don't think that's a big deal. Meta schemes will obviously exist in a toxic way, because the word meta has been warped and damaged to just mean popular, not actually the best. Naturally, the meta is always countering or playing against what is in front of you. The best though is to create advantage, but most people still in Season 17 still can't grasp this and claim early rotation. Early draft rotation is solved, which is entirely... I don't understand what is he trying to say here. Am I stupid? Is this weirdly worded? Like, I'm not... So meta sheeps will like, exist in a toxic way, but then he goes on to like how the meaning of the meta has been. There's people overthinking this way. I mean, for sure, it's obviously it's going to get scrutinized like the WSD, and everyone's going to talk about it. And this is good. Like, the discourse is good. Conversation is very good. You want people to give you their opinions. Like, I've seen the amount of discussions I've seen on Twitter, for example, is that you have like you have somebody posting like, voice chat is just so good, there's no drawbacks. I was like, it's crazy that it doesn't exist. Like, it's just ludicrous, you know? And then you have somebody who goes in and they're like, yeah, for example, I've seen like some girl streamers and they're gonna be like, well, I hate voice chat. I probably won't like play League of Legends at all anymore or tune in to the voice chat, you know? And then you have like dudes coming in saying after like, well, are you stupid? Just mute. You know, like, they're completely missing the point. And ultimately, it is about like the game joy at the end of the day. It's about the fun aspect of the game. So like it's a balancing act. Like, for example, you get like certain amount of joy from playing the game, but if you go into the voice and hear somebody in your ear like constantly like bully you, and if that happens multiple times per day, maybe like the balance is not worth it for you anymore. So you can see that happening. There is a very important thing to note here, and this is something that I chatted with people at the Riot Games headquarters when I went there about the voice chat. They asked me on my opinion on voice chat, and I told them like toxic, how would you even call it? Like incidents of toxic like moments, like just the number of toxic events usually goes down when you have voice chat, because you're adding another personal element to it. So you're removing one layer of anonymity, right? If you imagine just you're communicating with somebody, you don't know who it is, like a complete chat, but nothing is known. You don't know their name, nothing. You can go like nuts. You can just do whatever the fuck you want. All kinds of toxicity. And then if you know who the person is, okay, now that guy's a streamer, now it's slightly different. Okay, now you put an image of that guy, you have their face. Okay, now it's different. It's more personal. Your face is visible. Now you're using your voice. Now you're on video call. Okay, now it's different. It's a lot more difficult to get toxic when you're on video call with somebody because you're looking into their eyes. Okay, now remove that barrier. Have somebody IRL. Now you're conversing IRL. It's a lot less likely that tiny things will set you off to be toxic because there's just a lot more personal elements in there. That being said, precisely because there are these personal elements involved, the form of toxicity might get more personalized and like sharper. Okay, so people are gonna flame particular parts of your being, i.e. your voice, your looks, your characteristics. So initially, like, you're gonna get lower number of toxic events, but when they do happen, they would be sharper. And I gave this reasoning to people at the Riot HQ, and they said, like, we broadly agree. Yeah, like we looked at the studies and we did some research, and that's basically what that's what they confirmed. So that's also one of the things that led me to believe that they are gonna go through with the voice chat. So yeah, and then like so you would think that's like a logical drawback, right? Like okay, sometimes they're sharper, but it's less toxicity. And then how do you even measure this? There's no like thing. There's no like this thing that just measures toxicity. Some people can handle the text chat, but it gets a lot more ugly for them if it's like realer, when it's actual voice coming down. So maybe they take that harsher. Some people won't care, some people will. You can't kind of please everybody in a way. So at the end of the day, it's just some people are gonna like it, some people aren't gonna like it for these reasons. And I don't know, it's just like a choice on the company whether they want to do it, whether they want to go through with it. And I thought it was a correct call. They think it's good and they're gonna go for it. I don't know how it's gonna go. Are they gonna use some sort of filters, like the profanity filters you're mentioning on YouTube? If that's gonna happen, or it's gonna be like personalized, like every time you get a report and like AI scans it, and then like if the AI can't find it or like needs moderation from a human, goes to a human. That might be the way they solve it. But yeah, you can definitely, they definitely want to do it. Some people will like it, some people will not like it. Now on the discussion of whether it's gonna make players better or worse, this is the exact discussion I had with Nathan and Curtis, and I still think like overall the skill of the game is just gonna go up. People are just gonna be better at the game. People will straight up be better at the game. Like what Nemesis says, like even if it's true, I don't think it's very consequential at all to the landscape of the League of Legends. Because, okay, think about it this way. I don't think it's gonna harm, like you have 2 people in voice chat and like lower elo, like to 3, and people are just playing and having fun and like doing their own things. They're not min-maxing every aspect of their gameplay. It's not gonna change how they approach the game in a micro level. Okay, but then you go to the highest level, they might play a bit slower, and they might play a better macro with less bloody gameplay. Okay, that's good. That's precisely why I hit rank 1, because I just play super consistently according to the win conditions. I just play tactically. I'm not like super talented player. Like it's gonna fix the biggest gap in the high elo, which is players' knowledge. It's really gonna bridge the gap like with a bunch of people, because you're able to absorb the knowledge of your jungler while you're playing support. You don't have to play jungle to learn jungle. You will understand their movements a lot easier. You will have the significant communication of who's where, and you can make true plays, more correct plays. So even if they become a little bit less mechanical at the highest level, overall the game quality should be better. Now again, it's like, it's whether it's something you enjoy or not. Do you want to play more brawler? But I imagine like there's mods to play brawler. Like if you want to just brawl and have a little bit of fun, you're probably going to play mayhem or arena or something like that. So I don't know. I don't think it's a very, very strong argument, especially because he takes it into a very, very radical realm. Like he's talking to these things in absolutes, like it's going to absolutely do that. It's going to just completely change the landscape of the game. It's going to be slightly different, but you're going up against like 16 years of culture. Okay, let's see here. People reach on Mars through different methods. That's true, which means low, mid, and below Apex, including Apex with non-pros, will face an issue where everyone has different ideas on what should be done. That's good. That is what happens right now. It's just that these, like, you can make an argument. This is precisely what happens right now. Everyone, like, you have 5 people, 5 different ideas how to play the game. When those ideas align, you have a very high-quality game, and people are in sync. Majority of the time, they don't, and you're just dealing with it. But the problem is you're dealing with it, and you don't know what their ideas are. This way, you can actually have voice your ideas, so you can kind of modify the gameplay. And if you disagree, you can just decide which idea you will follow, and that's cool. I think it's better to have a known obstacle than like you're playing in the fog and trying to like solve multiple unknown variables, both enemies and your teammates. Again, I think that hones like the true skill of the game. We have seen this in the streamer tournaments in complete utter mess. You have former pro players advocating to fight down entire core items, or suggesting to fight simply to be proactive without defining what that means. I mean, sure, yeah. This will cause issues everywhere because people lack discernment in the first place, while all esports at the pro level moves at a snail pace. Okay. Everything said above has been said by me before a decade. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Again, these are like very, very mild problems for the voice chat. They're not necessarily even problems defined. It's just change. It's just different. Obviously, like some people fear change. Change is weird, you know. If you get used to something, it's going to be different. It's going to be selecting for a different environment, which is perfectly expected when you have voice chat. So yeah, the highest elos will see a little bit of a change and broadening the level of gameplay because people are going to be sharing information much more. As a woman, I'm a bit worried, but I do think it's a good change. I mean, every game nowadays has it. It's just crazy the League didn't have it. And we listed out the 3 reasons why they didn't have it, and now they feel compelled to do so. And just how they're going to do it. Again, like some people will not like it, some people will like it. But the main thing is that remain open-minded, you know, have empathy and understand what other people are claiming. Well, what is their idea, why they like it, why they don't like it. And then keep that in mind when we move on. I refuse to see the voice chat to be detrimental to League. I mean, obviously it's not detrimental. People will always go into more radical claims, which is cool. It's fun for the argument. Yeah, I mean, I understand Nemesis's perspective, especially like knowing that Nemesis is a bit of a more introvert, and him in voice chat is just like, when I play with him in voice chat, it's just more like chill environment. You're not really like shot calling or commanding too much. I don't know. I don't think it's like that big of a deal. It remains to be seen whether it's going to be good or bad for the game. It just really depends what you're trying to achieve with it. I don't know. What do you guys think about the voice chat? Is it going to be good or is it going to be bad?